Dr. Harsha's objective in the next 2 to 5 years?
One is about Buddhism and animal rights. The other one is about wildlife trade.
Reconnect with the animals in a different way. Just want to get your thought on that, right? More deeper.
If I say the word chicken to some random person in India, and the first thing that comes to their mind is something like chicken biryani or chicken 65, or they don't think about the animal, right? We have done with the soy milk, and we did some trail runs. It came out beautifully. No one can tell the difference. The biggest challenge for the vegan movement today is lack of human resources. At least I would say that one of the biggest challenges. It became an excuse for them to justify the consumption of eggs. That is number one. It became an excuse to justify the high price rate of the eggs that they can sell. Okay, we have a cage-free farm, so instead of $3, I'm selling it for $10 or $12, whatever.
The most forgotten victim of dairy farming?
Buffaloes. But from a speciesism point of view, extremely cruel.
Yeah, I think Gary says this, right?
A quote that made me go vegan way back in the day from a bishop from England, William Ralph Inge, I-N-G-E. In an 18th century sermon, this man said that we have treated our cousins in fur and feathers so horribly that beyond a doubt, if they ever formed an organized religion, the devil would be depicted in human form.
I think the person who started animal activism even before internet and YouTube was there, right? So he said farming as a holocaust.
There's huge amount of cruelty. There's no hygiene, there's no proper ventilation, there's no proper water in many of these farms. And animal agriculture is a huge role in human slavery.
One word to describe India's dairy industry today?
Poison.
If you made it this far, you're clearly into deep, meaningful conversations around health, lifestyle, and the science behind how we live. 60% of people who watch these episodes haven't subscribed yet. If you enjoy these insights, my humble request is to please consider hitting that subscribe button. It will help us bring much more curious minds, expert voices, and keep the show going straight.
I think you've spent around 20,000 hours of discussions, and throughout India you've traveled. So probably you've taken around 2-3 years or 4 years in terms of the making to collect all that information, talking to multiple people, just to understand maybe how long it took.
So from the beginning of conception of this idea to the completion of the film in 2 languages, English and Hindi, it took us 3 years. However, the travel happened from 6 months to 18 months during this period.
Try to bring it part of the essential food chain, and people are addicted to the taste, and it's similar to the junk food marketing where it's more of the palate. They actually try to create products which is more crispier, like the potato chips, like it's a science they do in the background. Similarly, I can relate here, right? I think it's cruel the way they are treating the animals. So I think I wanted to...
So this is the power of marketing.
Yeah.
Even the concept of breakfast was introduced because it fulfills the needs of industrialists and some food companies. For example, Kellogg's is known to promote cereals and milk.
So you're working with other activists to actually take this forward much more, right? I mean, what do you think Dr. Harsha's objective in the next 2 to 5 years, like what he's up to? I think if I want to know.
So we are working on a couple of major projects. One is about Buddhism and animal rights. It's more of an Asia. It's not specific to India or South Asia. The other one is about wildlife trade. So these are the 2 main projects that we are currently working on, and we hope to complete in next 2 years. Yeah.
Got it.
But my end goal is I want to create a world where people like me are no longer needed to come up and speak. I want to live a peaceful, private life.
Yeah. No, I think it's not activism, but it's more education is what we need. I think it's more to do if it goes from the school. Do you think the
Activism in the form
schools
of
we need to
education.
start
That's
more?
how I put it.
Yeah. But school, I think it's important to start talking in the schools. I think probably in India, I would believe that the school system education is pretty heavy, right? Because there's again a big business on that front. So maybe more education on in the schools would actually have better children going over the next set of generation would probably think different than the current.
Yeah.
So that's one
So,
way to
so
look at. I believe.
because we cannot showcase our film to young people, so because there is some mature content, we only target students who are above 18, which is colleges and universities. Yes, we have released a film called Life in a Sanctuary. It's a child friendly film which aimed specifically to screen at schools, because we received a lot of
Right.
requests to make something for children.
A sanctuary for rescue animals. She doesn't trust anyone yet. It's so much fun to see them hopping and dancing away with each other. After all the excitement of the day, everyone is finally tired and so very sleepy.
Yeah, that's true. I think one is the education and constant talking about it that actually will help open up eyes of many people. But again, choice is their own, so individual choice, right? But even every single choice counts, and we can make a large difference in the animal
Yes.
farming industry. I know one of the conversation you were talking about. You people have to visit sanctuaries to if they really have to understand what happens, or how do you reconnect with the animals in a different way. So I think I just want to get your thought on that, right? More deeper, more from a humane connection standpoint.
Yes, let's say if I say the word chicken to some random person in India, and the first thing that comes to their mind is something like chicken biryani or chicken 65, or they don't think about the animal, right? So that is the kind of conditioning that we grew up in. So initially, my thought before even becoming a videographer, and one of the plans that I had is, I want to just buy like 1 to 2 acres of land. In fact, I was volunteering with one organization at that point of time and convert into a sanctuary and an education tool. Like every day, we can invite one school, a group of children, come and experience these beautiful animals, the hens, the goats, the cows, because all they see is in the form of the food in front of their plate. They never had that in-person experience. They never looked into the eyes of the goat or a chicken. So this is really needed. I really hope the sanctuaries pop up all over the world, not just in India, where not just rescue these farmed animals, but also becomes a platform as an education tool for young generations to experience these beautiful animals. Each only when you encounter them, when you have that personal experience, you realize that each animal has their own individuality, behavior, likes and dislikes. Just similar to dogs.
Got it. Yeah. I think
So
you're right. As I told, right, like people associate sausage and ham more than, a real, pig or a hog and, or chicken, right? It's more probably indoctrinated in the mind unless you go and really experience how the animal behaves. You are with them and see them live walking and running, playing. Yeah, that's true. I think I've covered pretty much broadly a lot of questions in the dairy industry, and I think some of them you already covered. I think the only one point I wanted to get your thoughts on. See, I think if I look at from a Indian culture standpoint, drinking tea is one. Especially the tea shops and coffee shops across the world. I mean, everywhere you go, there you can actually get that, cutting chai or the chai. I don't know whether we can come up with something alternate in that place. People will think about buying an oat milk or an alternative milk to have a
we
chai
don't
wala
even need oat milk.
giving you that.
We have done with soy milk, and we did some trail runs. It came out beautifully. No one can tell the difference. In fact, there was one occasion where we gave this sample of soy milk tea
So,
to a very
yeah.
famous restaurant owner that falls on it's a Kathiawadi restaurant that falls between Mumbai and
Hmm.
Surat. It's a very famous restaurant, and we gave the sample to him, and he was quite surprised that he cannot tell the difference. He said he could not tell. So we shared the recipe to him, and besides this, we also reached out to a lot of tea stalls in Mumbai, especially in Navi Mumbai region, and we asked them like, see, you are buying 1 liter of milk for 60 rupees. We can give you 1 liter of milk with 30 rupees or 40 rupees. It won't be much higher. If you get that, would you consider replacing it? And without exception, every single person, tea stall owner said yes. The biggest drawback in the vegan movement is lack of human resources. So we couldn't continue that initiation. I really wanted to do that. I have so many projects in my mind, and everything is on hold because of lack of human resources. Even the films that I'm currently working on, I'm the sole person who is traveling and filming, recording. So it's a big challenge. How can we amplify the vegan movement is one of the big tasks. And unfortunately, a lot of money is going into the welfare side. Cage-free campaign, humane slaughter, these are unnecessary campaigns which are for sure are harmful for the animals in the long run or short run, because the end goal of all these places is just slaughter. So that is one of my main concerns. The biggest challenge for the vegan movement today is lack of human resources. At least I would say that one of the biggest challenges.
While there is a lot of activism and people do it, but I think, as you say, it's not at the right place. So it's more disproportionate. I think I had a different perspective. Even I was challenging my own thoughts on the farm welfare, where a lot of funds is going. But then I talked to a person, Louis. So he was explaining, right? The world is not going to change so soon. So how much of harm we can reduce for that animals in that course is also one area to look at. So we have to look at possibilities of reducing. That is what he was talking about. I think in a way, I don't know whether everybody will become just plant-based or.
My only concern in that objective is it looks fine when we think about animals, but from a speciesism point of view, it is extremely cruel because, for example, if I say that, let's say we are 200 years ago, we are in America and slavery is still popular. Can we say that, tell them like, okay, don't beat with sticks, you can beat them with rope. Don't put short change, give them some freedom, give them long chain. How does that make sense, right? If we cannot compromise those values, why are we compromising on animal values?
On this.
The only thing is, it took so many years for the slavery movement to. There's still slavery, of course, but it took a lot of time. But that doesn't lead to creation of a welfare point of slavery or welfare point of human trafficking. Traffic only women who are above 18. Under 18 is not good. How does that make sense?
Yeah, I think your points are very valid, right? I mean, I also believe the same. The factory farming here is very cruel. I mean, if you look at the way it's treated, even extreme here, I think in the Western world. So yeah, I think Gary says this, right? Yeah, I think the person who started animal activism even before internet and YouTube was there, right? So he said it's like a Holocaust. He calls the factory farming as a Holocaust.
And there is a valid reason why I don't believe in welfare campaigns. This happened again in 2017. I don't know if you are familiar with the Mumbai. We are doing activism in the Marine Drive. It's the sea-facing side of the South Bombay. It's a touristy place. So we were just talking to a few people and then moving to the next group of people and so on and so forth. And then we met a group of 5 Americans who were just sitting and enjoying the environment. And we just stopped and we were casually talking about it. The American people said that we only eat cage-free eggs at our home, so we don't consume anything that is. So then that made me think, the cage-free campaign is going on since the 80s, maybe even before, I don't know, but at least since the 80s, the campaign is going. What has happened? What is the ground reality right now? It became an excuse for them to justify the consumption of eggs. That is number one. It became an excuse to justify the high price rate of the eggs that they can sell. Okay, we have a cage-free farm, so instead of $3, I'm selling it for $10 or $12, whatever. And also, it has become a veil to hide the actual cruelty that is happening. There are so many investigations that is done in recent years of these cage-free farms. This huge amount of cruelty. There's no hygiene, there's no proper ventilation, there's no proper water in many of these farms. So enforcement won't be possible. So all of things led me to accept, not only believe, but also accept that, all these welfare campaigns are pretty much useless. So it's not just from an ethical point, but also from a practical point. My reasoning is against these.
There is one, I was also researching about this, and I think I talked to Louis, and there is something called sexing. So what they're doing is that they're trying to actually, even before the eggs or the male chicks understand the pain, so they're trying to actually eliminate, them instead of after the chicks are actually, born, and then grinding it in the grinder. So at least from an immediate effect standpoint, it is actually ready.
Certain small steps, that those are definitely welcomed, because any reduction is a good reduction. The end goal should not be compromised. That's what I feel.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
If
agree
if
with
if,
you.
if let's
At
say
least,
a
at
egg
least
industry wants to implement this policy, I would like, okay, they are doing it, but it doesn't stop me to speak against those industries. At the end point, I will still
against it.
continue speaking against those industries, because the female ones that hatch, what are their role in the next 2 years until they lay like 300 eggs per year, and then once they stop giving eggs,
They become the chicken and the food.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
on top of
Yeah,
this,
I
all
think
these are leading
like
to human rights abuse as well. Huge human rights issues, whether it is India or America. Trump is right now heavily on deportation, right? Some of the big people who are opposing deportation or upset about deportation, at least, are these farmed animal agriculture, or these cotton crops, or these certain crops where they hire low salary labor, cheap labor from Mexico. Yeah. And they live in a very bad condition. They have their passports were taken away from them so that they can't leave. It's a form of human slavery as well. And animal agriculture is a huge, huge role in human slavery and human rights violations.
both from a also a contributor for climate change too.
Yes.
That's also one more factor to look at. I think when you talked about human rights, I think this is an important point. I think I discussed in my previous conversation, but I want to bring it right. I think the element of if somebody is working in that industry and trying to being in the slaughterhouses, I think you've covered a bit in the movie as well. So
Yeah.
I am
From a
actually
mental
doing
health
this on a
point,
day in day
yes.
out. Yeah. So the mental health of that person, I think I cannot imagine that. How can that person be sane when he goes switches back of that 8 hours to go back to his house? It's not possible, because what your actions actually impacting your mind, and day to day you're doing that, and you're seeing all this, and how you could be more of a how your mental health will be stable. There is definitely an area which I didn't think so anybody is looking at, and that's where they become abuse, animal abuse, as well as the child abuse, and all that miscreants which is coming out of that. Yeah.
So there was this incident that happened 2 years ago. These people are defending the slaughterhouse workers and all that. So I just asked them one question. Let's say you are going out for a vacation and you have a small child, and you have two options: a slaughterhouse worker and a tomato farmer. Whom do you want to have? Whom do you select as a babysitter for your child? They made that connection. Until then, they didn't make that connection.
If you made it this far, you're clearly into deep, meaningful conversations around health, lifestyle, and the science behind how we. 60% of people who watch these episodes haven't subscribed yet. If you enjoy these insights, my humble request is to please consider hitting that subscribe button. It will help us bring much more curious minds, expert voices, and keep the show going straight.
Wonderful question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to digest. Yeah, I mean, I think your answers were pretty, I would say, more compassionate, and also it's more real. I don't think so anywhere there is a fabrication, or probably it's more superficial, because you've lived through that experience, and the movie speaks a lot. And beyond that, after that, you continued the activism, and you're trying to do more meaningful projects. And I think definitely I wish you all success, right? All the work and whatever possible collaborations and help, together we can do in this journey. It's definitely happy to help.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a wonderful conversation we had.
I think before we wrap up, I have this rapid fire I want to do on Maa Ka Dhoodh and get your answers quickly, so I'll not take much time. I know you've answered this question, but my first question was around doctor or filmmaker, which heals more people today?
Filmmaker.
Filmmaker, yes. I know you will answer that.
I would say that, who has the
Oh,
biggest
potential
potential.
to, yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
filmmaker. To
yeah.
heal a lot of people today. Yes, true. Very true. Milk, nutrition or normalization
Okay. Normalized under the pretext of nutrition.
now? Yeah. The most forgotten victim of dairy farming.
Buffaloes. And especially
Sorry?
male buffalo calves.
Oh, male buffaloes, yes. Ahimsa milk, myth or reality?
Myth.
I want a lot of people to know that.
I would say it's
Yeah.
Maya. For, from a Hindu
Yeah.
point, it's Maya. It creates an illusion that there is something good. We need to come out of that Maya.
Yes. No, that's true. Vegan food in India, expensive or actually cheaper? I think we talked about it.
Cheapest of all,
But sympathy or empathy, which creates change?
empathy. Our film production non-profit organization is named Empathy Films.
I saw that. Yeah. It's a wonderful name. Everybody showcases empathy. I think the world would be a much better place to live
True.
in. One word to describe India's dairy industry today.
Poison.
Poison?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. True. Very powerful. I want many people to hear that. One thing a layman can do today, right? If to change what he's doing, if you have to tell that.
I think at least to start with, at least watch Maa Ka Dhoodh, and not only watch, blindly accept, just inquire yourself, introspect, investigate,
Hmm.
try to find the truth, and the truth will make you go vegan.
Yeah.
In fact, I used to have a
One.
Facebook channel in the past called Truth is Vegan because I realized that anyone
Mhm.
who seeks truth will end up going vegan.
My thought is more not to say that again. This is also I've learned through the process that not to demonize people who are not vegan or probably not that they are doing anything wrong. Probably it's more of a cultural belief, or probably the understanding of it is not there. The realization is not there. It's more for us to mention or educate them to understand what is rational or what is probably an compassionate decision which they can make, or what in one meal what they can do better, so one meal at a time. So not to really demonize or say that okay, this is not what you're doing is cruel, but probably that's one thing which I also try to make sure, because most of the time the question comes only during the dinner table, or probably when you're in a setup where you're eating food and they just start, then I say, hey, this is not the right place to talk, so probably we'll talk after the food.
Mhm.
Then you
Yes.
will not be happy.
Yes. So for me, my point of looking at these things is because I myself was a non-vegetarian until the age of 19 and then vegetarian for 7 years and then vegan. So I cannot get angry at those people because I was 15, 20 years ago, right? I can be angry at their actions, but not at the people themselves.
People, yeah.
This is something that I try to tell myself. I mean, people think I hate. I don't usually hate people. I was just upset that. And the second thing is, I don't like the word educating others because I'm not educating. I'm more often giving awareness because awareness is something that you already have, that you are realizing that you already have. You are getting aware of things that are done. I'm not giving something new information or education. That's how the way I see it.
One question people should ask their milk supplier.
Where are all the male calves and bulls?
Cool. No, I think it's pretty insane to, if I keep thinking about it, right? I think, yeah, not many are questioning or challenging the
Yes.
traditional things what
Yeah,
people have done,
this is
right?
what I say. Like if a dairy farm has 10 milking cows or buffaloes, you should have 10 calves. But normally you will see like 3, 2, or maximum 5. You don't see 10. They are getting rid of the male calves. That's very clear.
I mean, I wanted to also tell everyone who will watch, it's not, see, again, all the conversations around veganism or probably plant-based, it's not to question or tell anyone like what to eat, or no, that's what we always, people think. Again, it's more the personal choice to what to choose. But again, you should ask questions, how this is coming from, like where it is. At least understand the source, understand, what happens behind than just looking at the label, because course, you can't rely on the label anymore, but at least understand what happens behind, so that the truth, it doesn't need any agreement, right? So at least the honesty of knowing what you're putting in your body, or how this comes to your table, is important. So at least start asking questions is what generally, it's important to, I would tell everyone. So that it's a wonderful
Yes.
conversation.
I usually
I'm
say
so
follow the
happy.
money and ask yourself who is going to benefit, for whose
True.
benefit. If they are going, let's say, vegan, how am I benefiting from it? Or if they continue consumption of dairy, who is going to benefit from it? Like, ask these kind of Socratic approach questions. I think people will find those answers by themselves. No one has to suggest them
One
from
has
the
to, yeah,
outside. Yeah.
yeah, true. Wonderful. I think I have not really prepared so much for this conversation, because I think the film was so powerful, and I think we all liked it, including my 6-year-old, right? So I made him watch it. I think a lot of people, you said it's not for 18, it's for 18 year above, and the children cannot watch, but I think my son saw it, my daughter saw it, they liked it, they really appreciate to showcase what happens behind. And definitely I would encourage, I mean, at least I'm not going to tell that you have to, but at least there's no harm in showing that. It doesn't show any cruelty than any mainstream movies. You are taking all the children to mainstream movies
Yes.
where there is much more insanity.
Yes, even the
Yeah,
Marvel
right.
movies these days have a lot of quite graphic things. In fact, the Avengers thing, the first thing that shocked me was, the beheading of Thanos, the final one, Endgame. So that really shocked me. Like, is this even allowed for children to watch?
I think it's a parental choice, but I think I would
Yes.
say it doesn't harm to showcase something which is more truthful, to understand. Kids connect to animals so much. So I think it's important to educate them about this. I think I'm so thankful for your work. I mean, it's such powerful and meaningful, Dr. Harsha, what you're doing. And I wish you all the very best, and looking forward to see the new films, right? I think definitely I would do much more discussions, and probably work together in terms of how we can take this journey forward, right?
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you. It's my privilege. All right. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and signing off from Caffelogue with Naga.
Thank you. You
Fun.
too. Bye.
If you like this conversation, please hit the like, share, and the subscribe button to get the latest updates from my show Caffelogue with Naga. Thank you so much.